Welcome to part 2 of this series for creating a custom map for City Skylines. Now, if you watch part 1, you'll probably realise that the map it doesn't look exactly the same. Now, that's a result of me learning a very hard lesson, which I'm going to own up to. It was my own fault. I made an assumption and it didn't work. Basically, what happened was I just was looking at the map in preparation for recording this episode, and I decided that I wanted something here a bit more. If I come across here and we go to this view, I didn't want the flat expanse. So this is open-ended there, and the blue sky, and I wanted something over here to give a bit of a skyline. And so I went back to Terrain Party. I found some reasonably looking mountains in Italy, and I captured these mountains here and there, and I brought them back. I repeated exactly the same process as I did in part 1. I brought the map into here, put the mountains over the top, blended it together using the graphics package, and I was happy, and I brought it in. And what I started to do then was the next step, which is what I'm going to do here, which involves, I'm not going to describe the process because it'd be easier to do that when I do it, but what it did involve was that I was swapping backwards and forwards between these different terrain heights to get information. Not that one, definitely. And I'm not going to make the mistake I made. And I decided to get rid of the ones that I didn't want. So I was quite happily working away. And what I didn't realise, and this is a very good point, that the map file, the texture in the map file is not one of these, it's separate, and the autosave was on. So effectively what happened was that I was quite happily working away, editing the terrain, saving it, the autosave, and then I went to look at one of these other maps, and the autosave went through. And of course what it actually did was it saved the terrain from, I think it was Vancouver, into the map file. So effectively I lost all the work that I'd been doing, and at the same time I lost the actual original files because I'd been tidying up. So when I was trying to recover to get back to where I was before, it just became a horrible mess, and to be honest I got a bit frustrated, and I decided that just to start again, to be honest. I mean, that's just gonna load this map in here, which is yeah, I just basically decided to start again and bite the bullet. So I hope you guys will bear with me. I mean, if I re-import the file back in again, the main structure's there. I think these mountains have moved a little bit, so it goes move mountains. The river estuary isn't exactly, I mean, it's there in principle. So I hope you're going to bear with me on this, guys. It's a hard lesson to learn, and I hope in some ways my experience will help you guys. The key is that when you're working with multiple terrain files, if you've only got the one terrain file you're creating a city, it's no problem because you're most likely have the original. But when you're working with multiple terrain files like this, use the export height map here. If you use export here, I've got one called test PNG here, you export the actual terrain map. Don't worry about the map file until you've actually got the detail of what you're trying to do, which is what we're going to do in this part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a technique that I got from Sky Storm's excellent series. This is the one I'm going to do. Now, if you look at the custom map here, you'll see that the rivers down here need some work, because when I used the merge file they didn't have the definition, and the file that actually has got that information in is not that one, definitely, is this one. So what we're actually going to do is come down here And the technique is you actually just use the trees to capture the outlines of the board. So what you do is you quite literally, oops, the brush size is too big, so, and you just kind of go along the edge of the coastline here, marking out the edge of the river. So Skystorm does this, uses this to mark out the River Thames, and I think it, to personally, all credit to him, I think it's a brilliant idea. So I'm not claiming originality for this, but I think it's going to do it. And as I say, you just start tracing out things on the map. As I say, what I will do now is time lapse it, so see you in a minute. As you can see, I've just dropped the time lapse for the moment. As you can see, what you can do is the trees are preserved because they're not stored on the terrain map. They're actually stored in the map file. So the trees themselves, you can see, you can actually flip between the two maps and just you can just close them back up again. So again, I'm just going to time lapse this because it's going to take quite a long time for me to work on here. So see you again in a minute. Right, welcome back. As you can see now, I've marked out this area here. Basically traced the outlines of the rivers here, going up here. Now this is going to be the areas that will be tidal. So what we're going to do now is just go here, have a fairly strong brush, maybe a little bit bigger, and I'm just going to, whoops, got to press the right hand button, not the, we make the brush size a bit bigger. Yeah, it's left brings this up, right goes this height. Another little trick also is if you use this level tool, you can get the heights of the land around it. Now for sculpting out to river level, this tool's probably one of the better ones. The level tool I'll be using for another part and all that, but you need to remember to click you can see I want a fairly steep kind of area. What I might do is just, let's say if you get this, and if you right click you get a height, and you can just click the left hand brush, bring out this edge a little bit, so you can flip between the two tools. I'm not too worried about leveling because this area is going to be a bit rough, and over time it's going to have to be leveled anyway, because you can't build on it, and at the end of the day accuracy especially if you're building a custom city, you have to sacrifice some of the accuracy for playability. Now I'm not going to be too concerned about finishing this river off. What I'm really after at the moment is cutting out these areas down to sea level. They will be adjusted, just gonna once we do the water side of it and put the flows in. What I'm just interested in at the moment is the path. So maybe I'll just make the brush a little bit smaller, and I think Control Z is a hidden command in here. Do Control Z, it's an undo. So I think what I'm going to do is go down really small. That's probably there. Use this tool now. Take a level, say 15 meters, and I'm just going to. Whoops. Let's just get that's there. So if I set this to say 17 meters, and we'll just cut in here. The reason I'm not taking this to sea level is because I want for the water to flow well, as in a natural river. You need Control Z. You need a gradient in the bottom of the river. If you just sculpt it all the way out to zero there, I mean, that's as far as I'm going to take this river out. While I've got the height, I think I will do the same over here on this side. Just chop the river out up here. And what I'm going to do is keep going at this, so I'm going to time lapse this bit again. So see you in a minute. Oh well, that's it. Now you can see that I've now got the main rivers outlined, and this is there. And what I'm going to do before I do anything else is I'm going to save this, and I've finished my file name. You can call it my work in progress file. Going to be called Waterside, so I'm going to export that. And that means I've now got a safe copy of this, which will be used. Now the next thing I'm going to do, and just to round this part off, because I'm trying to keep these short, is I'm going to do the sea level. Playing with water in this map editor is a very interesting experience. So the default is 40, and I think that's, looking at this, it's a bit high because it looks right, but you've got to bear in mind this is all very rough territory up here, therefore it's going to have to be smooth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that to about 33 for the moment. We're just going to come back, and what you will see is when I unpause the game, if I go, and you'll see all the water appears as if by magic. And if I do that, and it will continue to flow. You can see here there's we've got a problem over here where it's flooding here, so that's probably going to need to raise this terrain up a bit. But at the moment I'm just interested in, actually let's go to 40. Let's go for it. Let's go to 40, reset the sea level. And you can see, that might be better. So I've got a really serious problem here. Yeah, I think that might work. As I say, you've got to be a bit aware. Let me just export this again, just to make sure. Do you wish to overwrite? Yes. And what I'll just demonstrate is that if I take the smoothing tool, now this area here is far too rough. There's no way you can build on this, so I'm going to have to smooth it. So if I just put the brush up, you need to keep the strength fairly weak with a smoothing tool, and you'll see. And if you actually watch, see the coastline dropping. So I don't want the sea level too high at the moment. As you can see, that's actually dropped a bit too low. Hence the reason why I saved it before I actually did it. And of course we've got a problem over here with regard to this area here, which would means that I need to raise this area here. So probably, actually let's do it. So let me just bring back in Waterside. So it's now imported, and what I'm going to do is, maybe we can live without this little bit of estuary here. So what I'm going to do is take this tool, get this area. This is quite good, and we're just going to brush over this area because I don't want mountains. I just want enough height. So you've got to be a bit patient with this, in the sense that what I'll do is just click on the water. So you've got the original coastline there. So I think what I'm going to do is just go back to here, go to the water, set the reset the sea level to there, and it will all disappear. Just going to pause the game so the water doesn't flow up. So what I need here is everything over 40 meters, and this is all a bit low. So what I'm going to do is just come over here, raise this area a little bit. you just use that's 54, that's 86. So it's still a little bit low in the centre here. So we're just going to just brush over this area. Maybe a bit more aggressive here. So I can always smooth it down and adjust it. You know, I mean, at the moment it's more, just need to kind of close off this edge here. Just check this area here. 62, 52, 53. It's a little bit low here, so I mean, at the end of the day, got to remember is this will be viewed from over here, so you're not going to see a large amount of detail even in the final map. So what we're going to do now is come back to here, set the sea level to back to 40, come here and pause the game. I think that should get it. Yep. Bring it back here. Still a little bit of a dip here, so we need to bring this up a bit. Just if you unpause it with the water. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. And we'll just raise this edge up here. You can see, don't worry about the water. The water kind of flows a bit. It takes a little while to settle down. What do you think, guys? Does that look good? You happy? I'm happy with that. It's still rough around the edges. You can see here where there's still a bit here, which obviously I didn't actually sculpt out. So what I can do is if I just select the brush, and then I can, obviously I missed this bit, so I can just drop the brush down. We can do this in kind of real time. Just trim off this edge here. Just nick back that area there. This is actually the river handle. Spent a lot of time there when I was very young. So just going to maybe make the map a bit bigger, but strength isn't. Maybe bump the strength up a bit. That's a bit better. Brush size down again. And just watching it. Say I'm not trying to recreate the actual river. I just use the information to get a realistic flow of shape of a river. The river is tidal actually. So I think this one I probably will take out all the way to the edge at the minimum sea level. And you can see the, oops, got a bit of a, obviously I must have clicked the map. So we just need to right click there and just whiz over it like that, make it go away. If you want the water to flow faster, just speed up the map speed and the water will flow in eventually. So I'm happy with that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this as to the export. You're about to overwrite the height map? Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Now you've got all these trees on here, and this is where a little bit of a dodge comes in. Is that if I press here, go back here, load the original map, and you can see all the trees have gone, but we've got the original map. See the risk in the things. But if I import this one, you can see I've now brought back the newly edited map, and all the trees have gone. And what I can do then is go here and save this map. You can see the autosave's gone through. And that's it. As I say, you can the water will flow in. You can see the water flowing in from the edge of the map. So, but the easiest way to get the water in is just to go reset the sea level like that, and go here, and then it flows in. Otherwise, it takes forever to goes in. Now, this is where I'm going to bring this part to an end. I think I've probably bored you guys enough to pieces. I hope this has been useful. You get a feel now for actually creating the map, pulling things together. In the next part, we're going to probably repeat the process up here to tidy up this area, because I want to get the main structural areas pulled together in before I start on the detail areas of laying in the water things, doing the smoothing. But I think that's good enough for the moment. I mean, there's other key tip here is that you look here, there's no flow, because this shows the flow. So there's no flow in any of these rivers here at the moment. So we're going to have to do something about the flow if we're going to have not suffer from the same problems of, you know, the sanitation with the flow. This river probably doesn't need a flow. You can see it's got a few problems, need to fix that. Nor so's this. Might put some flow into that one and this one. Never know, might put some flow into this one as well. So, and obviously the one down here doesn't need any flow. This one's got a little bit of a problem, which I'm going to have a look at, I think, but I'll do that off camera. I don't, because it's so far away. It's similar to what I've done before. So this is where I'm going to leave it, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. Obviously we've got a bit of flooding here that needs to be addressed. Let's have a quick check at the heights here. Get it on the brush. Yeah, it's sometimes the water, when you change the map height, the water flows over for a little while because of the surge over low-lying areas, and then it kind of sorts itself out. So you've got to be a bit patient with the water. And so this is where I'm going to leave it. So hope this has been useful. Like and subscribe, and till the next time, enjoy your gaming.